Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of These Corona Times. You are tuned in with even though she's already been one, the newly minted Dr. Bruce.
Hey,
and our boy Brandon.
What's going on?
This vine is killing me, y'all. And
oh my God.
And of course, your girl Tiffany. And we are joining you here yet again for These Corona Times. We've been away for a little bit. Hope you all will forgive us. We've been on a little bit of a summer vacation here or there. That may happen a little bit more the next month or so. But, we back. I want to say that we are live and direct, but we are not. We were live and direct together as one last week. But today we are coming to you for episode 47. Catching up in these times, which is extremely appropriate because we've been gone. So
we have been gone. It feels like forever since we did this.
Yes.
Is that Josiah?
It is. I see it.
Hello, Josiah. I saw the spikes.
Yes.
Oh, Josiah.
Well, as usual, I want to say thank you all for watching. We truly appreciate your continued support throughout this whole year. You all been sticking with us. We have almost made it to like a whole year's worth of episodes. Like 52 will be like 52 weeks in a year. It'll be like a whole year's worth of episodes. Yeah. But of course, we've taken breaks here or there. So even though we hit a year a while ago, we're only like 47.
Yes.
But we want to thank you all for your continued love and support, for watching us, for joining us weekly on either Facebook at These Corona Times or YouTube at These Corona Times. Want to remind you that you can also catch us wherever podcasts are heard. So if you like Spotify, Apple Music, Anchor, whatever it is, hop on there. You can listen to us anytime. Catch the ones that you hadn't heard before if you're a new listener. But thank you for the support.
Absolutely, and I am trying to concentrate.
But
the site is cracking me up, and I love it. Between us with bonnets on and Josiah in the back, this is the best show.
Brandon's muted.
Okay.
Just doing the absolute most. Just doing the absolute most.
I always wait to get here.
I shouldn't be laughing.
To come out.
Of course. So, how did you all practice self-care? Brandon may need self-care after this. But how have y'all been practicing self-care this past week?
I'll start. So we might all say the same thing. I don't know. But this past week, Simone was in town. Simone and Sean and Caden. There's more than just Simone that comes. But spending time with them this week has been great self-care, even though we did not do any of the things that we had planned to do that we said we was going to do as far as like going out to eat or meeting on this night or that night or whatever. But we got to see each other several times. And I'll say probably the biggest form of self-care was like the culmination, which was the drive-by for Saturday, like seeing everybody, like bunches of our church family and friends that we had not seen in forever. So it was very, very nice to just be together and be with my friends in person, although I see these two all the time, but to actually see them in the flesh was great self-care.
Yes, I will just agree that. I think we were home for about 10 or 11 days. And so that was wonderful. But the drive-by, which turned into less of a drive-by and more of just like
a hangout.
It was a hangout.
Yes. Is that what the young people call it? What's it called? Khadijah called it a setup?
A set. A kickback.
A kickback.
That's what it's called.
The setback.
The setback.
No, none of the vernacular now.
I don't know any of it. But it was wonderful. I did graduate on that last Saturday. And so that was wonderful. But the best part was just being with my church family. And magazine folks will always be my church family, even though I don't live there anymore. And I haven't had that community in Charlotte because of COVID. So I'm glad the first experience of having that again was with magazine folks. That was great. I cried. And I think I put that in the polo. No, yeah, and Tiffany commented about me crying. I didn't used to cry.
No.
I didn't used to do that. But now I have all the feelings. So that was my self-care because that was awesome. I got text messages afterward from some of the ladies that we hung out with, some, childhood friends, just talking about how wonderful it was for them to be there and all that good stuff. So that was my self-care. And yeah, we did hang out multiple times, which makes sense because we talk so much. The three of us talk so much. And our kids got to play together. I mean, Brandon's kids got to play together, which just brought me a whole lot of joy. And I mean, also made my child sleep harder. So that made me very happy. So yeah.
About you, Brandon? Yes, you.
It's my self-care. My self-care was definitely the same thing. Because again, I saw these two Tuesday, Wednesday. I saw Sean Friday, and then Saturday. So I got 4 times to see them. And so, our kids played together twice, and they played hard. Like, it was like they didn't miss a step. Actually, no, 5 times, because I saw him at my kid's birthday party as well.
Yeah, they played a couple times.
They played 3 times together. And so being able to see the kids get kind of comfortable playing with each other again, that was super great. As you get older, your circle becomes smaller, and especially the amount of men that you may have that you confide in and everything like that. And so being able to see Sean, Simone's husband, was great. We had lunch. And then of course the drive-by, seeing just everybody. And I went to 2 drive-bys. I went to 1 birthday drive-by, 1 graduation, baby month drive-by. And it was just, I was full. I told them, I was like, I'm tired, but I'm energized at the same time.
He was like, hi.
I was high. It was. But for me, that's getting my friend meter up, my people meter up. That's a big thing for me. And as that stays high, everything else falls into place. I was yelling at my kids a little bit less. I just felt so much better being able to see so many people and engage with so many people about so many different things. So it was great.
And we got T-shirts.
We did. I was going to say, Tiff's cousin made T-shirts. That was a big surprise. We took pictures, which I'm sure, hopefully Tiffany can put an insert in there of us with our T-shirts on. We had some haters. You're going to have haters, but people want to buy them. I know they want the merch.
They want the merch. They want it. People were asking, where can they get theirs? I was like, well, we might have to take some orders.
Yes, absolutely. So, it was great seeing y'all, and I can't wait to do it again. Next time, of course, there will be, the Bruces will go from 3 to 4 by the time I see y'all. So, don't know how much self-care will be happening during that time for us. But, we, in terms of acknowledgements, we always do, want to acknowledge a Black person, a person of color doing something wonderful in the community. And today we are acknowledging that it's Pride Month. And so we've talked a little bit about LGBTQ plus issues on this show. And by now, I'm sure everybody knows what Pride Month is, but just to share a little bit, Pride Month, or Gay Pride, or LGBT Pride, is the promotion of the self-affirmation, dignity, equality, and increased visibility of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people as a social group. So we just wanted to take some time out to acknowledge that community, and to acknowledge that a lot of folks who identify as, who are people of color, who are also LGBTQ plus, just deal with a lot more discrimination, racism on top of homophobia. And so we just want to acknowledge somebody that we know named Paul Anthony, who is on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. And when I pull it up, it just says Paul. Let me look at it again. It just says Paul Anthony, and it is Paul-Anthony, all caps. And he does it on YouTube and also on Facebook. He just does a lot of wonderful education about being gay and also being queer and just LGBT issues in general. There's a lot of misinformation about that community. And so we just want to always promote conversation and promote equality and, acceptance, especially as Christian folks. So just want to highlight him and the work that he does. I have personally learned a lot, and I can't speak for these two. Maybe I can, but I won't. growing up in the church, there's just a lot of stuff we didn't learn.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff we learned that wasn't right.
Yeah.
I just want to highlight.
You don't do too much, Simone, because you'll be orienting, and we can't take that away from
I don't want to orient. You know what? The orientation ain't even on the schedule. I must have deleted. Somebody deleted that. Maybe it was me. My bad. Orientation.
That's how much y'all don't like me. That's how little they think of me, folks.
All right, Brandon. I'm gonna write it in.
You did a lot of copying and pasting this week on the notes. So
I'm gonna kick it over to Brandon for the orientation.
So one of the things that's happened over the last couple of weeks is Bonnet Gate, also known as the helmet of salvation.
Yep.
Also known as the protector of hair, also known as whatever. We've seen these. I got my bonnet on. Yes, this is my bonnet. It is comfy. It stays on.
Why is bonnet more luxurious than ours, Simone?
I know. Mine got holes in it.
I love my bonnet. I wear it around the house. These two have seen it on multiple occasions. Me wearing the bonnet. And so we have heard a lot about that. And one of the things that stuck out, there was a photo that was taken of some women that were in the airport. One of the things that I saw, and it was comments about why, something to the effect of why they wearing that outside, talking about bonnets. And, one of the things you're looking at is, are we internalizing what is respectability? Are we internalizing a lot of white supremacy thoughts? And is it okay to wear a bonnet outside? Is it okay to wear a do-rag outside? Is it okay to do those things? And who has the right to say yay or nay? I don't know.
Is it all your
What about the other two?
What about the other two things?
Oh man. That was a bad thing. Oh my goodness.
That is so funny.
Yeah, I'm working on like 2 hours of sleep right now.
Be patient with Brandon. Be patient with you.
We should have reminded Brandon, this is called catching up because we have a hodgepodge.
Yes. This is also about our vaccines. Yeah, this is also talking about our vaccination, talking about the are you vaccinated, asking questions, because some people are asking others if they're vaccinated. Is it right to ask? Are you cool with people that are not vaccinated? So if you're vaccinated and someone that you would normally hang out with is not vaccinated, are you hanging out with them? What's the protocols? We're entering a whole new world with how that goes, and what kind of language are we using, everything like that. Also, why it's important to, wait a minute, let me make sure I got that right. Yes. LGBTQ, because it is LGBTQ plus. Mm-hmm. And why it's important that we do acknowledge that and do talk about that, because as Simone said, there's a lot of violence, a lot of discrimination against that segment of the population.
Thank you. The one time when we leave your orientation off the schedule, this is what happens. So we're gonna remember to write you in every time.
That's so funny.
I said yes to all this, and still.
I know. It's okay though. We understand.
It's fine. We don't have any order to this. The first thing on the list is the bonnet gate, which I would love to talk about first. We can take these bonnets off.
Yes,
are we taking them off, or do we have to talk? Do we have to wear them while we talk about it?
Mine when we talking about it, and then I'll take it off for them.
I'm gonna take it off when we finish the topic.
I was saying, if you judged us when you saw us with the bonnet on, please drop a comment while you're watching this, because Brandon mentioned one of the things about that kind of brought up the conversation. But one of the big things was Monique, the comedian and actress, coming out talking about sweet babies.
Sweet babies.
Please get some business about yourself and treat yourself.
She wasn't wearing a robe and no bra, so I don't know.
Well,
is she the right one? I don't.
Well,
continue.
So she just told the sweet babies to please act like they got some dignity in class, is what she was saying. And so our question is, what's the thought? What are your impressions on wearing the bonnets in public?
You know, I am not one for wearing my bonnet out in the streets. I believe my bonnet should be for inside the house. And I just feel like because we've evolved, like I think when we were younger, like if I could very much identify. If we were on like a church road trip and we left somewhere like really early Sabbath, we were driving to Radcliffe or Lexington or E-Town or whatever, I might have had the bonnet on till I got to church and, we got cleaned up, we got changed or what have you. If we were going to like, what is that place in Cincinnati? Kings Island, same thing when we were younger. But now it's like I have so many other things that I can put on my head that aren't necessarily my bonnet. And to me, my bonnet is for inside. I have my bonnet or my scarf. But now scarves are more fashionable. They're making them for like more of an accessory. So you can wear that. I mean, you have head wraps, you have slaps, or whatever silk line protective thing you want to wear on your head now. There's just so many other things that I could wear now that for me, running outside of my bonnet is probably not going to happen. I might run some trash in my bonnet, but I'm not going to store my bonnet.
And that's the same way for me. I mean, for obvious reasons, I think, for the most part, bonnets are geared primarily towards women. It was either bonnets, from my point of view, it was either bonnets for women, men, we had do-rags. Mm-hmm. And that's so a do-rag was basically a man bonnet. And so it was one of those, you didn't want to wear it out. You were told not to wear a bonnet out, a do-rag out. Mm-hmm. And so, it was one of those, you wear it so you can get the hair, the waves lined up. And then when you get to your destination, you take the do-rag off, scrub right here so you get the do-rag line out. And then you go about your business. And so I know that when I was in undergrad, I would sometimes wear a do-rag out, and it was looked upon unfavorably out. I would wear it out in public. I had 8 o'clock classes. I mean, I was going right back to my room and go back to sleep. So I'm not taking my do-rag off. So, and at one point, I was trying to match my do-rags to my shoes, but that's a topic for a whole nother day.
That was a whole vibe though, back in the day.
Whole nother day. Early 2000s was very lawless when it came to fashion. So that's just
I'm gonna say it was a disqualifier, and that's all I'm gonna say.
That's hard.
But it was kind of along the lines of, I think of, as you're saying that, I'm thinking about it in terms of like with the do-rag for men, and then also like sagging. It was kind of like, oh, it's not respectable or whatever. But for me, I'm going to say this. I think it's okay to wear your bonnet out. Okay. I don't do it. I think it's okay to wear your bonnet out as long as one is aware of the consequences. Just know if you wear your bonnet out that people are going to look at you some type of way. You might lose opportunities. If you're on social media with your bonnet out and, people check that, employers check that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So just be aware of the consequences, all I'm saying, because everybody's not cool with it and will judge you. But if that's what you want to do, then do it.
And that's unfortunate to be real, because I have the same mindset as you. Do you? I'm not wearing, there's certain things that I wear out in public and certain things I wear in. I wear my bonnet in because it's comfortable. It's something that I can lay back on the couch and not tear, strands of my hair out, this, that, and the other. And my slaps, my satin line caps or whatever, I'm wearing those out. So there's more stuff that's available. You don't necessarily have to wear a bonnet, but if someone chooses to wear a bonnet, so be it. It's unfortunate that somebody is going to be memed. Somebody's going to look at them, and these women that these pictures was taken of, we don't know who they are, but all of a sudden they famous. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's very, very, very unfortunate that we are so preoccupied with what other people are doing and wearing that. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Something came up for me when I was watching Monique's series of videos about this, and she talked about like she wasn't trying to be offensive. She was trying to do this in love, she was trying to, reach back and speak to the younger generation. And for me, that reminded me a lot of like, if someone older than me, or even I've done it before, have like said something to, especially somebody in church. Don't too much do it to people out in the streets, unless we're like really good friends or something like that. But usually like in church, when something is showing, when your slip is showing, or, when a strand is off, or like you shouldn't have worn this today because XYZ, are those days gone when people can like lovingly tell you, hey, you might not want to do that?
I mean, she said that if I'm in public and I see you, don't be surprised if I tap you on the shoulder. Mm-hmm. I think with social media, I think some of those days are off, because some of those days are kind of gone, because when you're a celebrity, you have a platform, you're going to use that to put out a particular message. But I prefer if somebody would pull me to the side, and be like, hey, maybe you should rethink that, Mm-hmm. And, nowadays, though, with the way people are, because people's respect meter is off, you don't know what might happen. You might get shot if somebody call you out. You don't know. You might get beat up. You might get put, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know how, or cussed out. And that's the last thing I want, is an elder who's trying to say something to help you better yourself be disrespected. And that is a real possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll speak personally for me. I don't mind when an elder, somewhat reaches back and shows me something and tells me something. And I'll tell you, for me, while I could see what Monique said could be taken as offensive, I also see it as a Black woman who's lived on this earth for 50 some odd years, who's seen all types of ways that wearing something like that has been used against her, reaching back saying, hey, you may not want to do that. So I can see both sides of that. And I know for me, the way I would choose to take it is like, you know what, let me think about what I'm doing. Like, oh man, you know what, maybe I shouldn't wear this do-rag on an airplane, because maybe I will see a prospective employer on there, and that first impression right there could change. So maybe I understand it. It still sucks. But it's just really tough. It's just really tough.
Okay. I was just saying that it's really problematic to use language like ghetto or, hood to describe Black women, because we are so disrespected in this country. And so I think that people need to be careful about how they talk about us and to us. And so that doesn't mean that we need to change our behavior, but people need to just be conscious of how they're talking about us, no matter what we have on, because you could be a, super successful woman, multi-hyphenate, and still go out with your bonnet on. Not that matters, but we all deserve respect, no matter what's on our heads.
Is that us to us, or is that white America to us?
I think it's both. Mm-hmm. For sure, because we do it to ourselves. There's a lot of internalized racism, internalized misogyny. Is that right? Misogyny? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we got to be careful.
So how do you find, because, talking about that, because, there are a lot of things that we internalize, as we have tried to assimilate into this country that's not completely ours. And what's the line between internalized racism and trying to help someone navigate a white space, and understanding that you got to move a little different because you're more than likely going to be in a predominantly white space?
Ooh, for me, I'd say approach. I have definitely been told things in love and out of love. So for me, I think in love, and somebody who's like really looking out, for them to say something to me, then I would think it is less the internalized racism and more like, hey, I really want to see you do well. I want you to come up well. I want you to have a good perception. I want people to have a good perception of you. Let me help you out. As opposed to when it's more like very direct and harsh, and it more of like, well, you making us look bad, you know. For me, that's more like internalized racism.
I can get with that.
Yeah, I think I think sometimes it can be it's hard to tell because there's a lot of people who are still hung up on relaxer versus no relaxer. Like, no, you shouldn't have natural hair. You shouldn't get locks because it doesn't look good.
It's not professional.
It's not professional. That is absolutely internalized racism, you know, and some internalized misogyny as well. But it could be coming from a loving place, but it's not okay. You know, so I think it can be hard to tell. Now I'll be transparent. If I'm hiring somebody and if I see somebody on the internet doing something, I'm probably not going to think too much about it. But if I see you walking into my place of business with a bonnet on, I'm going to have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
in your line of work,
please don't.
Right. Yeah. Right.
In your line of work, see, that would be inappropriate in my office or your office. But where Brandon works, because he's at a gym, it might be normal for somebody to show up with a bonnet because they're protecting their hair.
Yeah. But as a trainer, though, if a trainer shows up with a bonnet on, is that okay?
No.
She's trying to protect her hair just like the client. Brandon's saying no.
No. Nah. Protect it on your off time plan.
Yes, no words. Yeah. Because y'all trainers, like I think about I know everybody's not Peloton, but those trainers look so cool. Like I want to be them. They look so pretty and just so attractive. There's no bonnets.
No bonnets, no scarves.
But yeah, y'all look, that
no
would bother me. No. So do we want to shift topics now? Are there other things we want to say about this bonnet gate?
I want to take my bonnet off.
You ready to take bonnets off? You ready for bonnets?
Yes, please.
I am.
The moral of the story is don't judge people about the bonnets that they're wearing and try to call people in, not out.
Yeah. Look at No, except for Brandon. Call him out, please. Call him out all the time.
Can't do that.
I was gonna say when Brandon came to us with his bonnet and his velveteen rabbit hoodie on that day, I think I died in the polo. I wasn't ready. All
I wanted was for him to forget he had it on and walk out the house. That's all I wanted. Because he had to go out that day. And I was like, please show up with the bonnet on in the polo in the car. That's all I wanted. So do you want to talk about the LGBTQ plus topic? Because I really want to do vaccines last because I feel we had so much conversation around this. But which one y'all want to do first?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do the LGBTQ topic.
Yep. Let's hit it.
Yeah. Who wants to start?
Yeah. I can start. I think, we talk about a lot of different topics about protecting Black women, which we have talked about that, in a lot of different ways. We talked about race. We talked about class, and so I think we have to acknowledge Pride Month and just, I think I'm especially grateful for the understanding that I have now about the LGBTQ plus community that I didn't have before growing up. As I said earlier in the church, there's a lot of misinformation that we heard and learned. And I'm happy to be learning more and being open to conversations and to relationships I didn't have before. And so, I just wanted us to highlight that a little bit.
Yeah, me too. I think it's important that we as Christians spend time trying to correct some of the things that we learned incorrectly. Coming up, there are some things and some ways that I was taught to feel about this community as a child based off scriptures and Bible stories and whatnot, that I've really come to change my perception of that as I've gotten older and as I've had more experience with people in the community. So I do think
exposure. Oh my gosh, just wanted to quote, exposure is something. I'll think about it, but the more you expose yourself to something, you're like, oh, That's really what it is.
And that's a contradictory statement, because I think for us, we're taught that the more we're exposed, the more we will be like indoctrinated to something. And the thing is, I can be exposed to folks and still be settled in my beliefs, not in, I don't mean in a negative way, but I can still be very comfortable in what I believe in my faith, and still expose myself to other people and allow myself to have new experiences. And I think allowing yourself to have new experiences, you learn and grow more. And you don't want to just be stuck in that spot. We want to learn and grow more. So I think it's why it's important for us to touch on this topic.
Well, go ahead, Simone.
Oh no, go ahead, Brandon.
I was going to say, I kind of right behind you, Tiff. I remember, they gay. Yeah, stay away from them. And if you were hanging around someone that was gay, then the assumption was that you were gay.
Mm-hmm. You were gay.
Which, does the gay just rub off? Is it an airborne disease?
It jumps out on you.
That's what I was gonna say. To your point, Tiff, that exposure to something doesn't weaken your own identity. If you identify as a heterosexual person, then if all of your friends are queer, you guess what? You still not gonna be queer if you're straight. That's not how that works.
That's not how it works.
It's not how it works. Not at all.
And that changes so much about how I will talk to my children about what it is to be queer. And I'm using queer as an umbrella term. Some people will be okay with that. Maybe some won't, who are listening. But LGBTQ is a lot of letters. I'm going to just say queer.
Okay.
So I just, that's going to change the conversation that I have with my children, because I think it's important for us as parents to have that conversation so that our kids are learning from us about it, instead of out in the street, or, it's learning things from people who are more rigid. Yeah. Their friends are people who are more rigid, who are going to be, let's be honest, hateful.
Yeah.
And not teach them the right things. That's not how I want to raise my children.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
it's Tiff.
No, I was going to say, I think it's very important for you all as parents to help kind of control that narrative about how your children are exposed to individuals that identify with this community, and not letting them be shaped by like TV or people outside the home.
Well, one of the things that as a parent, I want to expose my kids to a lot, as age appropriate as I can, obviously, right? Because there's certain things that I'm just not going to expose them to at 4 or at even 7. And I think it's important because there is so much fear around, certain populations. And that's one, oh, you're going to be gay. And so we've seen it, we've heard it time and time again where, a kid who is gay talks to another kid and that person bristles like, why are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
And proceeds to potentially, get violent, beat that kid up. There was, I forgot who it was. I think his first name was Matthew, but he was beat up and taken out to like pasture or something like that and killed just for being gay. And that's just when you don't and I'm not going to excuse it one way or another, but when you're not exposed to something, when you don't learn about something, you fear something, and that person represents fear, and that person represents something evil, and you feel like you can be violent, you can treat that individual any type of way, and not as a regular old human being.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I don't want my kids to grow up being fearful of anybody, man. That's just, nah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
You talking about Matthew Shepard?
Yes.
Go ahead, Tiff. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that I mentioned earlier about, being queer, and then also being queer and a person of color. And when you combine those two things, we refer to that as like a double minority, of you being a racial minority and then being a sexual minority, and how that increases the chances of violence, of discrimination, racism, and death. I don't have the stats right now, but if you are, a trans woman, for example, I mean, we are finding, just like with Black women in general, we're finding a lot more murders, a lot more violence among this community. And so we have to highlight that, because that's not okay. These people are humans. They have families. They have wants and dreams and goals just like the rest of us. And so I think it's important to talk about that. And for me, I remember, I was going to share this briefly. I was in college. I went to UK, and there was a woman that I was super, super good friends with. Is my internet work? Am I still on? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're listening.
It's hard to see. I'm on the phone. And so we were really good friends. We go home for the summer. We come back, and I learned that she's dating a woman, right? And so this was like freshman or sophomore year of college. At this point, we did not talk about being gay at home. That was not a conversation. No one. That's not totally off my radar. All I had learned was bad stuff, right? All the wrong stuff. And so me and this woman, we were supposed to live together because we were good friends. And when I found that out, I decided not to live with. We were gonna, room together, and I decided not to room with her. And so as I got older and learned more, I realized like, oh, that was bad, like that. And she knew that that's why I didn't room with her anymore. And so I'm telling y'all, like years, I'm gonna say probably 3 years ago, because we were still Facebook friends. I reached out to her in Messenger and apologized for the whole thing. I was like, listen, I know that this is what I did. And I know that you know why I decided not to live with you. And I am so sorry about that. That was wrong. It was discriminatory and it was hateful. And I just want you to know that I apologize for that. I never should have done that to you. And we just had a really, really good conversation, and she was appreciative and she cried about it. And it was just, she said it made her feel so good. So I think the point of me saying that is that if you've made missteps, you can still go back and you can apologize and try to make it right. That person might not be open or receptive, but it's still, I think, within our duty to try to right those wrongs and those hurts that we have done to people in the queer community. Because I couldn't live with that was, and I feel like God put that on my heart to do that, because that was bothering. That was like years and years later. I was like, I have to make this right, or try to. And luckily she was accepting.
What is the phrase? When you know better, you do better.
Right.
And I think we all, and being a man, there are many missteps that I've made when it comes to women in general. And I'm sure, while I can't speak to one by name as far as with the queer community, I don't know of any, but I know for a fact I've done some shady, not just unconscious shady stuff, like bristled a little bit, decided not to go with somebody in their car, because I'm sure I've done some of that stuff and didn't think anything of it because of those things. And for me, my whole way is different now. And it's just because, again, at the end of the day, they're human. And as a Christian, we're supposed to love everybody, supposed to. But one of the things Christians do, I think we hypersexualize that community as well.
Yes.
And that's
right. Yes.
Everything is Sodom and Gomorrah.
Everything. And
everything.
And come on, let's keep it. What are the young folks? Let's keep it 100. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's keep it a buck.
No cap.
Let's keep it a buck.
No cap. No capper.
No cap. We just trying to throw all the young sayings out there, because we all, as a man, one of the things that you looking at, two women.
That's okay.
2 women, huh?
That's okay.
2 men, ooh.
Yeah.
And when you see one, whether it's 2 men, 2 women, your thought process is totally different. But at the end of the day, you're sexualizing both, because as a man, I'm looking at 2 women being like, Ooh.
Like that's exotic.
Can we make a sandwich? Like what's
Right, which is not okay.
Not okay. No.
And then, but on the other side, you're looking at the men and you like, ew, what they doing in their bed. So you're sexualizing both. And that's what we have been growing up and being exposed to time and time again, whether it's man talk, like, ooh, and whether it's like, no, I don't like that. That's just nasty. When we really shouldn't care what two people are doing in their bed anyway. But we've sexualized those two things, those two situations, and that has made the situation worse because all we think about when we hear of gay individuals or queer individuals is sex. And
it's the sex. It's the sex.
It's the sex, and that's all we're assuming that they're.
And they
doing.
not, and it's like
they not just out here having sex all will they?
No.
They're having relationships. They're having intimacy in other ways, having deep conversations. They're forming deep bonds. They're going to work every day. Like they're doing all the same things we're doing, but we make it all about sex.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just ridiculous.
That comes along with the learning and growing, because growing up, that's all I thought. Like gay meant that you slept with men, and lesbian meant you slept with women. Like nothing else.
Nothing else.
There's so much else in between that I understand now as an adult. And when we talk about missteps and incorporating the church, for me, it's going to be referring to homosexuality as someone else's sin for me. Like it's saying, oh, you're struggling with that. That's just, they may not see it that way. This may not be a struggle. This may not be considered a sin for them. This is their identity. So, controlling my language about how I perceive something and projecting that onto people in that community, for me, that's a misstep. It's like I have to stop doing that and have to stop presuming that you believe that what you're doing is also a sin, and putting that on you. That's not for you. That's not the language I should be using to direct to you. So, that's been one, but goodness, like just trying to learn and grow more has been my goal, my effort. They did something at my job a few years ago called like ally training. And I was real apprehensive about it. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I should go to that. I don't know if I should go to that. I don't know if I'm supposed to go to that. But then it occurred to me that if I say I'm a Christian, the Christ-like thing to do is to get to know other people be exposed to other people in other areas, other backgrounds, show Christ-like love to people, not necessarily having to witness to people by beating them down with Bible quotes and lesson studies and revelation seminars. But sometimes being a better witness is just interacting with someone and showing them Christ through you. So, for me, becoming an ally for the LGBT community has been very helpful in my learning and growing process, not just as an individual, but I would say also as a Christian. It's really putting to the test what we say, that we love each other. We love our brother as ourselves, regardless. That's really putting those words into action.
And it's crazy that the two commandments if you look at, I think it is in 1 John 3, the two commandments that we're given is to love our brother and believe in God or believe in Jesus. Two. It's that important.
Simple as that.
Say
very
what?
Simple.
Very simple. Is to love your brother.
Simple as that.
And believe in God. Those are the two things. Not try to convert so-and-so to so-and-so.
I needed you evangelize,
Not needing you to do this. Not criticize what somebody eating. Not criticize what somebody drinking. Love your brother and believe in God. That's it.
Yeah. And how confusing is it to advocate for Black pride? You know what I mean? Like having pride in your racial identity, but telling people, oh, don't have pride in your sexual identity. Don't like that part of you. And you don't have to be in a mental health field to understand that when people dislike themselves or feel shameful about their identity, that just has a negative is not even a good word, but I mean, significantly negative impact on their mental health.
Mhm.
and their emotional health, psychological health. So I think we're just promoting self-love no matter what your identity is, and love in general toward our brother, toward our fellow people. I won't say fellow man, but fellow people. And going back to just real quick about the over sexualizing the queer community, Paul did a YouTube video. Paul Anthony did a YouTube video talking specifically about that. It's not just about sex. It's not about that. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to his YouTube channel and hear him talk about this. I think it's about an 18-minute video, and I learned a lot from that video.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think we're about to move to the next topic. So I guess I'll say, just like with the bonnets, it's your business. And
and that's where I'm at. I ain't got time. I don't have the bandwidth in my head to worry about what everybody else. Oh, somebody else is young. These kids, I'm telling you.
Mama, can I please have a granola bar? Because
you can have a granola bar if you will leave me alone for a few minutes while I finish. Okay.
No, it's just I don't have the time to really be worrying about what people are going to do. I don't.
In their own homes, in their own house.
Yeah. I'm very glad that there are churches, because you obviously can be queer and Christian. There are churches who are affirming to identities, racial identity, sexual identity, and we need that, because it used to be back in the day you couldn't be both. And so what we know now is that there's droves of gay folks walking in our congregations, and they weren't allowed to be out. And so we assumed they weren't there, and they were the entire time.
Always.
Right.
And that's not not okay.
They've always been there all the time. And they just not feeling comfortable in some cases coming out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So
all right.
Moving on to the next topic.
You ready for the last one?
Yes. I'm sorry if you can hear Kate in the background.
It's okay.
He was in the bed in here a little while ago, so it ain't that bad.
we say anything can happen on these corona times, so it does. Kids come through, they say hello, all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Well, last one.
Oh, go ahead, Tiff.
The last one. Are you vaccinated? So I think that this was probably going to come up eventually for all of us sooner or later, but it came up a little bit more sooner because we did have an in-person event where many of us gathered together, and we have had experienced that anxiety that some of y'all are probably going to experience soon as things open up. When you start seeing your friends out in the streets, masked or unmasked, hugging or not hugging, are you vaxxed or not? I think these are going to be more conversations that we're going to start having as we're getting back to some sense of normalcy. So do y'all ask people if they're vaccinated?
Yeah, I do. And I felt no ways about it.
No ways.
I just, and a part of it might be because of my, I'm gonna say pregnancy privilege. I'm gonna call it that, because that concerns me. Like I'm at an increased risk of dying and getting really sick because of my condition.
That's true.
True.
And so I think I've been asking people, but in addition to asking them, I tell them like I'm vaccinated, because I didn't think of it. I didn't think it was now I know as a healthcare provider, I'm not allowed to ask my clients if they're vaccinated. I can ask them to wear a mask if I feel uncomfortable, but I can't ask them if they're vaccinated. But with my friends, like people I'm close to, like at the drive-through, there were some people that I did ask, but then some people also just volunteered, because if you're not vaccinated, that tells me that you could pass COVID along. Possibly to me. We do have breakout cases, so I just want to know. But yeah, I asked.
Mm-hmm. I offered up my own status, especially when I get ready to interact with people who I know that aren't. So like we talk, I know that we are, most of my family has expressed that they are like willingly. We've discussed it in different conversations. So it's now more so for people out who are outside of my home or outside of my like immediate bubble. So I'm offering it up. When I see people, I go, oh, we haven't seen each other in a while. I go, I'm vaccinated. You know, it's up to you. You want to hug or not? I mean, I kind of leave it with them, whatever they feel comfortable doing. But yeah, I offer it up before, just at the beginning.
Brandon, you ready to talk or you want us to go?
Yeah, I don't ask. I know one thing that I was doing because I'm a hugger. I was asking people what they felt comfortable doing, and that was kind of my way of going about it. And yeah, so I just haven't asked, and I haven't gotten to the point where professionally that's been an issue because there's still mask mandates at my gym until for the next couple of days and everything like that. So our gym has said if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're unvaccinated, you need to wear a mask, and what is highly suggested and whatnot. So I kind of let that happen on its own.
So what are y'all's expectations about transparency though? Like I didn't anticipate this being a thing, but I almost want people to just tell me, hey, I'm not vaccinated. Like I just want them to tell me.
I didn't.
Because
I didn't think about it. I just assumed everybody was going to be vaccinated.
Me too. I did too. Because the people that we know on Saturday, like, I'm not making this. I made an assumption that most everybody was just based on my conversations with them and knowing them. But I learned later that wasn't the case.
Something to eat.
Yeah. So I think I go by the school of thought for me is that if you are walking around without a mask on, I'm assuming that you're vaccinated because that's the mandate here in Kentucky is that you could take your mask off in public spaces if you are vaccinated. For people who, and I assume the opposite about people who aren't, and they may be, because I found out that some people who were hanging out with me this weekend that were masked the whole time are totally vaccinated. They just feel comfortable wearing their mask. So I don't know how to gauge it now. I just expect people to be honest and forthcoming, or if you don't want to say, don't say. But I expect people to give me like the ability to make my own decision about how much I want to engage.
Yeah. I think that I was, while outside, because I'm like that too. I'm vaccinated, but I still wear my mask anytime I go inside. Now, at my mom's house, when I was on the inside, the mask came off because the people around me, I knew they were all vaccinated. But if one of them had not been, I would have kept it on the whole time. So, I think, I don't know what the answer is. I feel like if I know you well, I'm going to ask you. But if I don't, I'm going to just assume you're not vaccinated and keep my mask on.
And this is not just something I think is going to happen in social circles, but, most of us are working at home right now. But as we start going back into the workplace, I know it's going to come up there too. Like, you want to come to my office? Are you vaccinated? Would you like to put on your mask?
Well, that's a good point because
or I have these masks here.
Yeah,
like one?
Because there's some nuance to that. And so for me, I'm comfortable with a lot of things outside. If someone's vaccinated or not vaccinated on the inside, on the outside, I'm cool because we're outside, we're going to have adequate space, this, that, and the other. It's when we're in that close proximity where it's like, whoa, now, let me chill for a second. Because for me, Simone, you're claiming, pregnancy privilege. I'm claiming three people in my home aren't vaccinated. My son right here is 4. He can't get vaccinated. My daughter, who's 7, she can't get vaccinated. My wife, because of her allergy situation, may not be able to get vaccinated. So that's the thing. We got a lot of issues going on. So because as someone who's vaccinated, I can still be a carrier. Let's not forget that. I can still be a carrier for it. I may not be able to transmit it as easy. It may not take me out, but I can still get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I can get it, that means I can pass it on. And so I have to be cognizant of the people that I'm living with. And yes, the rates for kids aren't too bad, but we don't know.
Yeah,
you
never
can still die. Your kid you could have a bad reaction and not make it. And yes, that's rare, but rare only means it happens, but not that much. And I don't want my kid to be the one.
Yep. He's back.
These kids today, man.
This is what happens. So we never record in the daylight. This is
we usually record when it's early or when it's late at night.
It's late. Kids asleep. But no, they're all out. They're here. They're ready to party.
No, and I think at this stage, Daddy. I think at this stage of the game, I think that I'm okay with folks. I'm okay with folks not being vaccinated. In a sense, I would rather them be vaccinated, but I'm okay with people not getting vaccinated as long as they understand that the rules are different. Mm-hmm. And that's your cross that you have to bear. And it might feel unfair, but some folks are a little more conscious about their health, and it is what it is.
I think the fact remains that you still have to do what you need to do to protect yourself and your household. So for instance, I got vaccinated well before my husband did. He has only had his first dose. He hasn't had his second yet. But they lifted the mask mandate for us between the time of my vaccination and now the time of Joel's vaccination. So to keep our household safe, I have said, even though I don't have to wear a mask, I will still be masked in public spaces when we go out because I don't want to be a carrier bringing it back to you, as you all have said also. So I think you just have to adjust. Like, yes, many people are vaccinated. Yes, we're opening back up. But I don't think we should go back to not doing the stuff that we were doing before. Like, just go back to Bedlam. Go back to Sodom and Gomorrah. Just all out Bedlam. Yeah. That's just, I think we need to still govern ourselves accordingly and try to be safe because there are children out here that are not vaccinated. There are people out here who haven't made up their minds about vaccinations yet, and that's their choice. I'm not knocking anybody for not getting vaccinated if they haven't already. It's their choice to decide. But I think we still need to be respectful and cautious for one another, for ourselves and for one another.
The other thing is that, kind of go back to what you said, Tiffany, I like how you put it, is that I want people don't have to tell us it's their personal health information. And at the same time, I want to be given the chance to make a decision about how I want to interact with you. You know what I mean? Like if I know that you're not vaccinated, then that gives me an opportunity to decide whether I'm going to be with you inside, whether I'm going to be with you outside, or if I'm going to be with you with the mask on or without one. Mm-hmm. So there's that point. But then also, from what I understand, most of the population in the U.S. is not vaccinated.
Right.
So we haven't reached that herd immunity level or what have you. So we're not really out of the woods in terms of like being able to pass it or not. But, if we were at a point where there were like 60 to 75% of folks are vaccinated, then I would feel differently. But the point is, we're still at a low number as far as I'm concerned, as far as I am aware at this point.
Right. They don't even, and you got, regular corona, then you got the Delta variant and all these other strains, because that's what viruses do. Viruses want to survive. So it's going to create ways to do it. This is just simple math. I'm tired of people that didn't pass basic biology all of a sudden becoming microbiologists on.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
The stat I'm seeing right now says 42.8% of the population is fully vaccinated.
That's a good number, but I would like for it to be reversed. I would like for it to go up. But we still have a little while. I mean, we have to the end of the year. For me, deciding to get vaccinated early was because I wanted my choice of vaccines. I wanted to be able to kind of dictate which one I wanted to get, if I wanted the Pfizer or the Moderna or the Johnson & Johnson at the time. And now I feel like my thought is if you keep waiting, you're going to just get what's left. And I don't want to get what's left.
The leftover vaccine.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the Johnson.
The Johnson.
Just the Johnson.
Just the Johnson.
That one hitter quitter.
Yep. I ain't trying to have it. So not that there's anything wrong with that to anyone who's had the Johnson, you know.
Well, I love how they had the serious issue with people getting the blood clots, and then they was like, all right, yeah, let's go ahead and put it back on the market, and we'll just let people know they might get a blood clot, but let's go ahead and put it back out. It's good. I was like, okay, no.
Okay. I don't want to be like waiting several months to decide and then to be like, okay, but now you have to choose from is Johnson. Do you want Johnson or Johnson?
The Johnson. or John.
Yeah. Like, no. I wanted my choice. I want my choice of them. So
yes.
Same rules apply for the other two things. I mean, getting vaccinated is your business, but protect those around you, please.
Yes. And if you feel uncomfortable, you're not sure, then do what you need to do. Don't go. If it's your house, you have a right to ask. And if people don't want to tell you, then they just can't come. Okay?
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
Protect yourself, man.
Protect yourself.
Protect yourself, because there are a lot of folks out here with underlying conditions they don't know about. And you all of a sudden, your lung capacity, wasn't great. And you didn't realize that, and then you get this COVID, and it could take you out.
Yeah.
And protect yourself, and protect your family and loved ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Daddy, give me something to eat.
Give that boy the protein.
Just like I want some protein.
Give that boy the protein.
He said, Daddy, I want protein.
Daddy, I want protein.
That took me out. Oh my God. I also want to say, people may not know this, but there's a community. There is I don't know if I want to say community, but there are people who are actually creating false documentation to show that they're vaccinated when they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a segment of the population who will not get vaccinated, but they want to lie about it. And so because of that, we just have to be vigilant.
Who was that said, Brandon? I think it was you, Brandon, either made a status or you said it's funny that people are paying to falsify documents for something you can get for free.
Right.
Good money to get that little plastic card where you can just get you a free shot.
Just get the vaccine for the free $99. Pull up anywhere.
Yeah. And what's not so funny about that well thought out plan is those of us who work in healthcare, we know that, you know, this is not just a little card that's just out here by itself in space, right? It's tied to your medical record. That's why they took so much of your information.
Yes, yes. Also, I just realized I got another vaccine today called the Tdap vaccine for the babies, so that they will have a decreased chance of getting whooping cough. And so I am just all vaccinated out. Have all the vaccines.
Yeah.
I texted Dr. Crystal. I said, do I have to get this? I don't want this vaccine. And she's like, yes, you have to get it. So I said, okay. I
mean, we also have, don't we still get tetanus shots? I feel like I had a series of shots a few years ago that I did not want.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know we have to get these scheduled regimen shots throughout your years of adulthood. So, I mean, I feel like I got a tetanus shot again several years ago. But yeah, and unfortunately, as we get older, there's going to be more stuff. There's a shingles vaccine. You know, there's things we're going to have to take as we get older.
We don't know if we're going to need booster shots for the vaccines we already got. We don't know yet.
But you know what? I'm cool with that because I get the flu shot every year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, my kids, I believe in vaccines. My kids ain't gonna know. My kids, if I told them what chickenpox was, they'd be like, huh?
What's that?
Right, what is that?
They probably think it sounds fun. Spots and you itch.
I'd have had chickenpox before. It ain't good.
Fun.
But a whole generation is gonna grow up not knowing what chickenpox was. But everybody I knew growing up had chickenpox.
Yep.
Yes. I just wanted to mention. Oh, what?
Wait a minute, Brandon. What you call it?
What?
What you call it? Chicken what?
Chicken pox.
With an X, right?
Yeah.
I was making sure. You know our people.
Wait, you thought he said
pox.
chicken pot?
Pops. Chicken pox. Diabetes. Alzheimer's. You know.
Bengals.
Yes, the sugars.
The sugar.
Yes. I just want to mention, I mentioned Dr. Crystal. Dr. Crystal, here she is. Right here.
Dr. Crystal.
Yes.
She also has a billboard.
And a commercial, right?
Somewhere.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I asked her just remember the little people. This is in today's women.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
I was looking for a copy of that in my gym because I wanted to take one home, but they out.
See?
Yeah, exactly. So we're moving on to gratitudes now. There was no All-American. That'll be coming back next Monday.
Mm-hmm. I'm ready for
that.
So,
obviously, I gotta go feed these kids.
Was that what you're grateful for?
Okay, Brandon, you because Josiah needs his protein.
He wants his protein.
Granny, you go first. What are you grateful for?
Man, I'm grateful for what I talked about. I'm grateful for my self-care. And I'm grateful, and that has sustained me this week. I was just so unbelievably grateful to see so many people this past weekend. I'll lie to you now, I saw more friends and family this past weekend in one day than I saw in a year.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yes.
Combined.
Yeah.
Like all the time, all combined.
That's true.
And so it was just, I'm still really and truly on a high from that. I'm still on a high.
On a high.
Seeing Sean, and me and Sean give the big bro hugs, and Simone always gotta hate on it.
Too loud. It's too loud. It's like
it's the dap.
Slap of thunder.
It's the dap. It's the dap, and then it's the just.
And they added something. They added the rock from side to side. I saw this happening. I was like, "What is happening?"
I was like,
but that's my God. That's my guy. And I was so happy to see him, so happy to, pick his brain, and so happy just to see, because sometimes you feel like you're on an island as a dad and as a man and everything like that. And so being able to talk with him over lunch was just like, man, this is like amazing.
I just realized something, Brandon. You need to get you some local guy friends. All your guy friends live in other states.
All my guy friends. Me and Alex is on that, though. They
left.
But all my guy friends started moving away. It hurt. I was like, golly, any of y'all staying?
Well, I'm grateful for...
I'm going to say I'm grateful.
Oh, no. Go on the phone.
Oh. I'm grateful for... I'm sorry. I'm grateful for graduating and getting and passing that milestone. Grateful for the same thing Brandon said, getting to hang out with folks. Like I said, I got emotional about it. It was, these are the people that literally I took for granted, like making friends, because when I was born, all my friends were being born right along with me. They were just there. They were just there. And then when people would come into the church, like Brandon, when his family moved in, then he just was in the fold. So I took that for granted. I didn't understand like what it meant to move away and not have that. So when I was back in that, it just felt like going back in time. Like I was like, oh, I feel like we're in the church parking lot. Because when we were growing up, after church, nobody went home. You'd be in the sanctuary speaking for forever. And then if they kicked you out of there, then you would go into the parking lot and just fellowship. So that's what I'm grateful for. I love it. I loved it. It was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And I'm still on a high. I'm still up here and I'm still looking at the pictures.
Me too. I'm so glad that Simone and Shine and Katie could come home so that this could be done. We thought we weren't going to be able to celebrate Simone's graduation, but we got to celebrate two things in one, the new baby coming and the graduation. I'm so glad that Simone's mom, who I think was a good thing for her too, because she loves to host people. So I'm so glad that she could open her home in the way she wanted to, that she felt comfortable, where people could still come and celebrate both outside and then some inside, and that we could just really gather together. And I like Brandon said, like, we live here in the city, but shoot, I've seen Brandon like 3 times this year. So just being able to really see all my friends in one space, in one place together, and just spend time talking with no time constraints, was really lovely. I'm also very grateful for vacation. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. I was going to say my mother's love language is fellowship. My mother's love language is social gatherings.
Your mother's.
That's her love language.
Love language is hosting.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Anyone that will let her host an event, that will let her talk nonstop, that's how
right
she needs
there
to be shown love.
That part.
Right. All right, y'all.
Well, until we gather together next time, we want to remind you to please continue washing your hands. That's really important. Yes. Yeah.
That should never stop.
Let's not stop that. Let's keep doing it.
Okay.
Wash your hands.
Please.
Yes, please. If you feel comfortable, if you're vaccinated or not, please continue to wear your mask in the spaces that are asking you to wear your mask. Brandon gave us the 20-second scrub. I appreciate that.
Your hand sanitizer.
Yes. Please.
Hey,
sanitizer. That's not what this is.
Washing your hands.
That's not what this is.
Yeah.
Get up under them nails. Get the backs of your hands. Get in between the fingers.
Brandon has a problem.
Yeah.
Get in real talk. What you don't need to stop at your hands. All right. You don't need to stop at your hands. You need to really get about wrist. You need that wrist.
Okay.
Get that wrist.
All right.
We're gonna do one whole episode and let Brandon do like a tutorial on hand washing.
I need 2 hours.
What?
He needs 2 hours, he said.
No. 20. The CDC didn't mention wrist. Okay.
They didn't say wrist.
The CDC did not mention wrist.
No.
Point me to the CDC, because the CDC didn't gave up on folks. CDC saw y'all putting gas in plastic bags and said y'all belong to the streets.
We gotta go. We need to go now. This is it. As
the CDC
always,
chose violence.
The CDC chose violence. Yes, they did.
CD said,
yeah, sit them out. As always, we want to remember to ask for justice for Breonna Taylor. Let's still go get that, please. Somebody somewhere. FBI, you listening? Go get that justice for Breonna Taylor. We appreciate that. All right, y'all.
Go get it.
As always, we remain yours. Of course. Simone's on yours. There it is. Good night, everybody.